Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Bull City Hangout 5-6. I'm Pat Murray. I publish the Durham Skywriter. That's Durham's online community paper, which I invite you to check out at durhamskywriter.com. Now, it's Bull City Hangout. I take some items from the pages of the Durham Skywriter, and then I put together this show where I tell you what's happening today in Durham. And I do invite you to click on that link on the Facebook side to join me on camera, shoot the breeze, promote yourself or your business, whatever. So I invite you to do that. I will bring you on right after I do the weather. So let's get started with the word page, and that is the government and nonprofit information page, where I will start out by saying that you can check out different programs and services as offered by local nonprofits, city government, and also Durham County government as well. So check that out at your convenience. Now, the Durham County libraries are all open until 6, and that does include Bragtown, and then they will reopen tomorrow morning at 9:30. Okay, let's see. Let's go to the To Your Health page and look at where we can get tested for free. I do have your COVID-19 test and vaccine updates, so let's go there. I see someone named Mark is waiting in the wings. Welcome, welcome. I will bring you on right after I do the weather. Okay, let's see. Let me click on the health page and see where we can get tested for free. So let's see. We can get tested with today being Friday. Oh, my church, Russell Memorial CME Church, 703 South Alston Avenue. That's until 2 o'clock this afternoon. Also, Fidelity Investments at 35 Davis Drive until 4:30. That's a drive-through. And then El Centro Hispano, 2000 Chapel Hill Road. That's the Lakewood Shopping Center. That's until 5:30. That is also a drive-through. Okay, now also on the health page, there's a lot of things on the health page, but let me just scroll down to the American Red Cross in dire need of blood and plasma. If you could help, they would really appreciate it. They are at a 10-year supply low. So today, the American Red Cross will be at, I hope I say this right, 𝗕𝗨𝗟𝗟. I'll give you the address. It's 2012D T.W. Alexander Drive. They will be there until 2:30 this afternoon. Also, they will be at Yates Baptist Church, 2819 Chapel Hill Road, from 1 until 6 this afternoon. And then let's scroll down. I think Blood Connection is also, yes, Blood Connection is also having a blood drive. They are at Walmart. They just opened, so they started at 11 and they will be there until 2. Oh, which Walmart, you ask? 1525 Glen School Road. That's the one that's right off Gear Street. Okay. Oh, and HELP is open this afternoon from 1 until 5. Let me tell you about HELP. The Health Equipment Loan Program is run by Project Access. That's with the county. So basically, this is where you can donate and or pick up items that can help you with accessibility. If you are disabled, if you've had like surgery, someone in your family's elderly. So for example, they have, and you know how, you might not realize how expensive wheelchairs are, but yeah, you can get a wheelchair. They have wheelchairs, they have walkers, they have the bedside commodes, canes, knee scooters. I saw someone using a knee scooter in the store just the other day. The pickup sticks, tub transfer benches. So all of these are available. They disinfect them, they repair them as necessary. So anyway, they are at 4206 North Roxborough Street. They have their own spot now, and they are open on Tuesdays, and then they're open on Fridays from 1 until 5. Okay, let's go to the senior page. There's a special event happening at the Durham Center for Senior Life. Let me tell you about that real quick, because you know Mother's Day is coming up. So at the Durham Center for Senior Life, they will be celebrating Mother's Day. Let me find it. There it is. It's called the Hats and Tea Mother's Day Celebration. It's today from 3 until 4. So if you're just now hearing about it, see if you can call real quick and register very quickly if it's not too full. Ask for extension 110. And that starts at 3 and ends at 4 o'clock. They're going to have treats and tea, and they want you to wear your fancy hats, all that sort of thing, to celebrate Mother's Day. And if you're a mom, grandmother, great-grandmother, happy Mother's Day. Okay, let's see. Let's go to the sports page real quick. And then we'll go to the Let's Go page and bring on our guest Mark Maximoff. Be right with you. So let's see. Let's go to the sports page. And I'm sure I will be corrected if I said your name wrong, Mark. Okay, let's see. What is going on today? Oh, Bridge to Sports. Yes, I'm so glad I take notes. So if you are into sports, check this out. Bridge to Sports is a nonprofit. They have adaptive sports. Super awesome for kids, adults, and military veterans. So just because you're physically disabled doesn't mean you can't have fun playing sports. They have archery. So they specialize in Paralympic sports and also cycling. And they have all these different types of bicycles. It's really wild. So tomorrow they're going to have the Paralympic sport of archery from 9 until 10. Session 1 is 9 until 10. Costs $10. Free if you're a member. You might want to join. Check it out. Archery session 2, 10:15 to 11:15, also $10. And then they're going to have the, what do you call it? The air rifle. I guess that's shooting something. That sounds a little scary, but be that as it may, that's $10. And it's probably not that scary because I'm sure they're very careful and they have super experts there to teach you how to shoot the gun properly. And it wouldn't be a Paralympic sport if it were really scary, just saying. Okay, what else is on the sports page? Let's click on the big green button at the top of the sports page. That is the Great Outdoors, where I tell you what's happening at the different state parks in the area. So Eno River State Park, they're going to have something called Birding Bingo. It's going to be tomorrow from 8:30 until 10:30 in the morning. And this is where you can see how many birds you can identify. And you won't be cheating if you bring your binoculars. Just bring them if you have them. And you will be walking along the Coal Mill Trail. It should be really fun. You do have to register, although it is a free event. Okay, now let's go to the Let's Go page, the calendar of events page. And then let's meet our guest who's waiting in the wings. So let's see. Let's go to the Let's Go page. Scroll down to 6, May 6th. There we are. New Visions of Africa restaurant will be giving away meals. They do this every weekday from 3 until 6. They are right next door to W.D. Hill on Fayetteville Street. Also, Stephen Munoz, he will be leading Lojo as Log Off Jam On. It's an after-work set at Boxyard RTP, where Stephen Munoz, he's a great singer and guitarist. You can join him on stage if you like. It should be really, really fun. Now, I do have a caveat here. I just spoke with Erin from Durham Central Park, and she says that the Durham Public Schools are actually closing 2 hours early today because of the weather forecast. It looks fine right now, but Erin says it's going to be we're going to have a pretty wild afternoon. So just know if you're a parent or grandparent, your kids will be getting out of school 2 hours early. And of course, you've already been, I'm sure, called by your school by now. Just letting you know that these events might not be happening as scheduled, but go ahead and call and make sure. Of course, if it's raining and storming, you'll want to huddle at home anyway. So just letting you know that Log Off Jam On is scheduled at Boxyard RTP from 5 until 7. Now, speaking of Erin, she did tell me that it's really sad, but Durham Central Park's playlist concert series, which was supposed to debut today with Shauna Tucker's An Evening with Sade, canceled because of the weather. So musicians, they don't mind sometimes playing in light rain, but when you have amplifiers and computers and that sort of thing, yeah. So she nixed it. It will be rescheduled for a later date. The Underground Collective, they're co-hosting Digging in the Crates at Boricua Soul, and that's going to be featuring music provided by the Queen Curator. That's going to be from 7 until 10. Again, it's scheduled, and it's held at Boricua Soul. Now, I think they have a bit of covering there because they're right across the street from the ballpark. So it might be happening, and it might not. Call to see. Okay, let's see. GPAS Live Music Hall, which is indoors at 112 Hunt Street. They're going to have a jazz concert featuring vibraphonist and drummer Brandon Mitchell. Music starts at 7 and will go until around 11:30. Tickets range from $10 to $30. Okay, and then Elise Thompson and Al-Nisa Lawson, they will be co-hosting the Fresh Face Showcase. This is going to be at Bull City Cider Works at 305 South Roxville Street. It's downtown. So Eyes Up Here Comedy, they've curated a show featuring comedians like Brandy Brown, Aoife Sinclair, Jackie Flanagan, Ada Dolan, and Vanessa Okoye. So free admission, but they do suggest and ask that you donate at least $5. So look at their Facebook event page. I do have the link right there for more information. I'm going to run through real quick what's happening tomorrow morning. Just going to mention them quickly. Cars and Coffee at Rhodes Scholars from 8 until 11, where you look at fancy cars and motorcycles. Durham Farmers Market in Durham Central Park, 8 until noon. Durham Craft Market, also Durham Central Park from 8 until noon. South Durham Farmers Market, 8 until noon in the Greenwood Commons Shopping Center, south on Highway 55. Saying all this in one breath. Duke Athletics is going to have the Duke Athletics 5K Walk Fun Run to celebrate 50 years of varsity women's athletics. That's tomorrow at 9:20, free to attend and participate in. Free Comic Book Day at Ultimate Comics Durham from 10 until 5. Carolina Theater of Durham presents Rissy Palmer playing great country / R&B, great combination, starting at 11. Last two things I'll mention, and I'll mention them during tomorrow's show as well. Maker Society Pop-Up Market at Golden Belt starting at 11, and then the Central Park School for Children's annual Strawberry Festival at Old North Durham Park tomorrow at 11. I'll tell you about that during tomorrow's show, which starts at 10. Very quickly, the weather. It's 69 and it's cloudy. It's going up to 84. And my little weather app doesn't tell me how drastic the weather's going to be. It just says thunderstorm starting at 3. But according to Erin, she's talking tornadoes and mayhem. So you might want to be careful there. Tomorrow, it's going up to 74 with a 90% chance of rain. There you go. So it looks like Guy, our cook, is also waiting in the wings. But Guy, let me bring on Mark first. He was here first. And I don't know if he's going to be announcing something. So just wait up, Guy. Guy's one of our regulars. So let's see what's happening with Mark Maximoff. Let's bring him on. Hello. Oh, Bike Durham. That's where you're from. How are you, Mark?
Good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Tell us about Bike Durham for those of us who might not be aware.
Yeah, so I'm currently the board chair of Bike Durham, and Bike Durham was formed about 10 years ago for the purpose of trying to expand initially more bicycle access in the city, more protected lanes and such. But in the past couple of years, we've pivoted so that we're also advocating for pedestrian and transit improvement.
I've noticed.
Yeah, so that's the focus of our advocacy. We have grown tremendously in the past couple of years. We were just this year named the Bicycle Advocacy Organization, the Bike Advocacy Organization of the Year by the League of American Bicyclists.
Whoa, that's saying something.
Yeah, that was.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, very pleased to get that honor this year. We're
so do we have you guys to thank for the bike lanes on Fayetteville Street?
We're always advocating for protected lanes, and we're in contact with the city, both city staff and elected officials, to try to press for more and faster delivery of such things. Okay. I don't know that we can, for any individual lane, I don't know that we can take credit, as it were. But yeah,
I have noticed them
pushing for them.
Let me ask you, if you don't mind, since you're an expert with bikes and pedestrian things, the new scooters, are they allowed in the bike lanes or what?
That's a good question. It's funny you ask. So back when the scooters debuted in Durham, I guess what was that, like 3 years ago, maybe? people were asking Bike Durham, like, what's your official position on the scooters in Durham? And we never, it's funny, anything that replaces car transportation in Durham is going to be good for the environment. It's going to be good for people's pocketbooks. It's going to be good for the city in terms of making things quieter and reducing, risk to people, getting injured and killed on the streets. We were never, but scooters has not fallen really under the advocacy that we do. It's been an interesting phenomenon to watch. I think a lot of the trips on scooters are made as much for pleasure as for real transportation. But they've been a kind of a minor addition to our streets that I guess has had some benefit. But that's I actually don't know. I think they're allowed. I wish I knew the answer to that question.
Well, I have my own scooter, and in fact, I think I was riding my scooter before they were even made their debuts, put it that way. And because of my advanced age, I feel safe riding the scooter on the sidewalks. But when I get anywhere close to people, I get off and walk.
Yeah, that's good. That's great etiquette. And yeah, as far as especially if you own your own scooter, we consider it's called people powered transportation.
Oh.
Yeah, that definitely falls under our umbrella. So yeah, if you're scooting around town on your own personal scooter instead of riding a car, that definitely is something that we want to encourage.
Oh, are they allowed on the bike paths?
I think they are. I think.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And what we're advocating, one thing we're advocating in Durham is for instance, if there's a street that doesn't have a sidewalk or a bike lane or anything, any designated place for bicycling or scooters or wheelchairs or even pedestrians. And it's a street that's large enough that it's some of the really small streets you don't really need any separate space because it's it's just a place where cars go slowly. But if a street gets to be any size where there's slightly faster car traffic and there's not a designated space, we would like for there to be a multi-use lane put in. And that can be done. There's some cities that are doing that very cheaply. Building a sidewalk is very expensive. Protected bike lanes are less expensive, but still, it's a considerable expense. But for a street that doesn't have any kind of a space for scooting or biking or walking, there's sort of a quick build approach where you can lay, in a parking lot, there's those kind of concrete things where shows where the car should.
Oh, sure.
There are some cities that are experimenting with putting those alongside the edge of the street and using paint and designating that as the walking, biking, scooting, wheelchair space.
Oh,
that can really be
that sounds a little dangerous though, because you don't want to hit a person. But I mean, I've heard of cars overcorrecting when I guess I'd rather have a car overcorrect than actually hit somebody.
Yeah, right. And as far as providing protection from automobile traffic, cars could just run up on sidewalks too. I mean, they don't often. Sometimes if there's some kind of a crazy crash or a crazy situation where that
actually did happen on South Alston, not too far from my house, just this week or last week, where a car overcorrected and hit someone.
Yeah, we heard about that. But in general, outside of some kind of a crazy accident situation, some sort of protection does provide. Your average driver is, if they're paying any attention at all, isn't going to, start barging into the protection. So it's an effective way to separate car traffic from other traffic.
Okay. Now, how can I help as a Durham Skywriter, and how can we help as Durhamites? How can we help Bike Durham? What do you want us to do, and how can we become involved?
There's a couple different ways to help Bike Durham. One is to become a member. We are currently a membership-based organization. There's some discussion about whether in the future we're going to continue to be a membership-based or more of a donation-based organization that isn't organized around a membership model. But currently we do have memberships. People who are members get access to an app that maps out routes in the city.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and so you can become a member. I think it's now like $35 a year is the minimum membership.
Okay.
We also
Okay.
encourage people who want to contribute more to become sustaining donors, who
Okay.
to a certain
And thank
amount.
you to Guy for putting the URL there, bikedurham.org. Thank you, Guy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. Actually, that looks like that's a Durham government link. Let me put in the let me put in our link too, just in case that's.
Okay.
And the other way to contribute to us is we are looking often for volunteers. We have events. May is Bike Month, and we've got a couple of events that we could use volunteers at. We're having some group rides. We are going to be having a East Coast, an Ellerby Creek waterway ride later this month.
And what is that?
That is a ride that tours some of the Ellerby Creek bike trails, and there will be somebody there, I think, from the organization that's going to talk about the work that the Ellerby Creek Watershed Association does. That's a great ride.
When is that?
Let me check. That's especially for families. That's a great ride. But anybody that's interested. Let's see.
Do we still have that rule where young people ages, is it 16 and under, must wear a helmet when they're riding a bike? Is that an actual law or just something that we prefer seeing?
I wish I knew the answer. It's funny. So I'm the current board chair. We have people in our organization that are more knowledgeable about policy than I am.
Okay. I just heard about that when I first moved here. Because I would always see kids without helmets. I'm like, I'm sure it's against the rule.
I don't
get
know.
hurt on your helmets.
Yeah, we of course we advocate for helmet wearing, definitely, and we have a program. One of our main programs. I'm sorry. Let me just point out to any listeners. The Bike the Nature Preserves ride is at 2 p.m. on Saturday, the 14th. And more information is on our page, which I'll put in.
I will add that to the Durham Skywriters sports page for sure.
Great, that's great. Here's our website. I just added to the chat.
Let me find that.
Mm-hmm. And one of our main programs is called Safe Routes to Schools. And that's a program where we go to elementary schools and we teach kids about bike safety. And we set up a course for them to navigate. And we provide many of the children helmets. We just had an event.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we tell the kids how important it is to wear a helmet. And we handed out 65 helmets at our last event, which was at a school in East Durham, Glen Elementary.
Nice.
So we definitely, our position is that people should definitely wear helmets for safety.
Mm-hmm. I'm just glad whenever I see kids on bikes, because when we were little, everybody rode bikes, Mm-hmm. And I don't really see kids on bikes that much. But then another thing I grew up in Chicago, and unfortunately here in Durham, at least where I live, there's no sidewalks.
Yeah.
You don't want your kid going down, we weren't allowed to ride in the street when we were kids until we were like teenagers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so when I was a kid too, it was the same thing. Like kids definitely rode their bikes to the neighborhoods. Kind of every kid had a bike. And I feel like part of the, an evolution that's happened in our society is that kids all get driven to school now. They don't walk to school. They don't bike to school. And
that is so weird.
It is. Their freedoms have been taken away. And, it's in the name of safety. You can see their parents are all worried about safety. If we had, though, proper lanes and protections for bicyclists, then it would for sure encourage more kids to do it. And then, those kids would get exercise, they'd get fresh air. They wouldn't just be sitting watching TV or playing video games.
I think two things have probably worked against the kids, at least here in Durham. In Chicago, of course, you have the neighborhood school model where you go to school, around the corner, whatever the closest school is. Although I see the benefits of the Durham system where the different types of kids get to meet other types of kids, whereas in Chicago, you only know people who are exactly like you, pretty much. And so I see the value of mixing it up. But then on the other hand, you don't get to really walk to school, or that means not biking or walking to school. So it's kind of like, a double-edged sword in a way. And another thing I do remember growing up, that kids who were my brother's age on down got hooked on electronics and didn't really play outside that much. That shocked me because I
Yeah.
grew up outside.
Yeah. Right. I know. Yeah. No. It's.
So,
I think whatever we can do to make sure kids are getting outside in the fresh air, instead of just sitting, and it leads to a lot of asthma and other problems like that. Yeah. So we really want to. So with the Safe Routes to Schools, we're really trying to get kids on bikes, even if they're not going to be able to bike to school. It's just going to be so good for them to bike around wherever they live safely.
Now, I don't know if you're aware, because this was such a long time ago. I've seen 2 organizations come and go. Do we have any organizations around that donate bikes to kids or that offer bike rides to kids on borrowed bikes? Because I do remember 2 organizations I used to keep up with, and they're no longer around.
Okay.
Has anyone taken their place?
We do. So in Durham, another great resource, and this is an organization that I have been a member of since I moved here in 2006. I've never been on the board, but I've been very glad to be a member, is the Durham Bike Co-op. And they get tons of donations, especially kids' bikes. Kids outgrow their bikes, and it seems like everybody's got a couple of kids' bikes laying around, and they get donated to the Bike Co-op. Once there, those bikes they're fixed up, and they are given by the dozens at events that are run by the Bike Co-op or by Bike Durham.
Okay, are they on Washington Street?
They are now. So they've moved a couple times. They used to be on Washington, and now they are in Duke Park. So the city gave them some space in Duke Park some years ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fantastic organization.
Okay, I will contact them as well. I do need to have just running information on bikes and that sort of thing. I'm so glad you came on the show, Mark, seriously, because I haven't had much bike information on the sports page or on the kids page, and I do need to do that. And I promise that I will start doing that from this point on.
Great. Yeah, and if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Add me to your media list too, if you don't mind.
Great.
Because I need to keep up with what you're doing, and I need to promote you in Skywriter for sure. I really appreciate it. So are there bike clubs for kids? I remember Durham used to have like a bike rodeo where I think the police department would encourage kids to ride safely and that sort of thing.
Well, Bike Durham, through a city agency in the last couple of years, we've had group rides for kids. Basically, we were showing how kids in neighborhoods where that don't connect well to other parts of the city, we would have group rides to like Pelican snowballs, and on those rides, sometimes the police would come and block traffic for us, which is not something you expect. It was good for an outing, for a day outing. Not it doesn't point to practical transportation methods going forwards, but if kids are taught to cross at lighted crossings and only bike on really small streets, then kids that are a little bit older, kids that are getting up 10, 11, 12 can hopefully begin biking to places not that far away in their neighborhoods, as long as they stay off the really busy high traffic streets.
Yeah, where are they taught this? Because when I was a kid, now mind you, I'm 66, I'm talking about a long time ago, but we had little booklets, just like the booklet that you get when you're getting your driver's license. We actually had a booklet for bicycles, how to signal properly. And I never see anybody cross the street the way I was taught, where you would, if you were going to go to this street over here. Now I see the bikes going with the cars. I've seen bikes in the turning lane. I'm like, oh my God. We were taught to go across the street and then cross that way instead of merging with the cars. So what are they taught these days?
Well, we would definitely want, children should for sure. That's the safest way for them to do it. They should really even just get off their bike and cross in the crosswalk, press the button. But I would say and then, if they're going to make a left, they should really get off the bike. And a child, now I would say that as an adult, when I ride a bike through town, I ride on all the same streets that cars do, and I if I'm going to take a left, I will go in the left lane. That's perfectly
Really?
legal. Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
because the bicycle is entitled to the same road use as cars. You know, bikes can't ride on interstate highways, but every city
Oh,
street,
goodness.
the bicycle is entitled to ride in exactly the same way cars are. They can take over a lane if need be. So I'm always getting into left lanes to turn when but you know, I'm an adult and I guess I'm one of your more fearless riders.
Do you make the signals?
I will sometimes, yeah, you know, give a point. They used to teach these kind of like, you know, hold your arm this way or
Right,
this way.
right,
Those
left.
are confusing to people. So more people nowadays just kind of point where they're going to go, you know, because people think you're waving at them.
Yeah, how you doing? Yeah. Well, if you're allowed to do that, then definitely do that. With my scooter, of course, scooter is, and plus, like I said, I'm 66. I'm real safe, so I still cross with and I walk my scooter this way and then cross going this way, because I think not only as a driver but as a passenger with somebody else driving, sometimes you get into a mild panic when you see a bicycle in the street because you don't know. You know, I see people swerving wildly, and I'm like, come on now. I mean, you don't have to, it's not that drastic.
Yes.
But sometimes people get into a panic when they see a bicycle because they're used to sometimes reckless young people just making these sudden moves, and you don't know where they're going to end up.
Right. And well, the kind of Durham that we would like to see is one where, you know, and I'll mention bicyclists in this case, but also pedestrians and transit users, where there's enough of it that it becomes more commonplace, so that drivers are used to seeing bicyclists on the roads. They, you know, there's more people who are pedestrians, so you know, it's not, you know, people don't have to panic when they see somebody using one of these other forms of transportation. And
you know, it was so funny. A couple of years ago, I went to Ireland, and I was just amazed at how bicycles are they're just part of the scene.
Right.
It was like no big. I saw bicycles fearlessly going like in front of buses, and I mean they're just part of traffic. And the cars would, you know, they knew they just would inch over. They didn't like, you know, whenever they saw a bike, they were just used to the bikes, and it was very calm and just seemed very natural, and it was really nice.
That's the future we want for Durham.
Yeah, people weren't like honking, go away, you know, throwing things. I mean, in Durham, there were these DJs. They would tell people to force the bicycles off the road, and they'd throw cans of soda and stuff at them. And unfortunately, a lot of bicyclists got hit.
Yeah.
On purpose. Well, I shouldn't say allegedly on purpose some years ago when people were really being aggressive towards them. Yeah. And hopefully with Bike Durham and other organizations, obviously that mood has changed. People seem to be more accepting of bikes, and I'm sure it's because of Bike Durham and other folks like you.
Yeah, the more people get accustomed to bikes on the road, the more people understand that the roads are really built for all users. It's not it was as much as our society is car oriented. The roads are, it's not exclusive to cars, the roads. Yeah. So, yeah.
Are there any obligations for bicyclists to make themselves more visible, though? Because I know back home, I don't see it much here, but in Chicago, a lot of bicyclists have orange flags.
Yeah.
And reflectors and things.
Bicycles should have reflectors. I don't know that it's a state law, reflectors. And some people, you know, they'll put on a vest and, you know, make themselves more visible if somebody wants to do that.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. Now, I personally don't, I just wear my normal clothes when I'm biking. I don't have any particular special clothes.
You are fearless.
So if I'm wearing a black t-shirt and dark jeans, that's just what I'm wearing that day. I bike at night, but you know, of course, if you bike at night, your bike has to have lights on it. You'd be crazy if you didn't. So I have lights.
So you have a light on your bike?
You really, if you ride at night, you kind of have to. I mean, it's difficult. You know, if you don't have a light in front, a little bit dark. So yeah, so people who bike for transportation like I do, you always have lights that you use at night, and that always includes a rear light so people can see you.
Okay.
But
Awesome.
I don't. But as far as if you ride one of those low recumbent bikes, you need to have the flag because like people will literally miss you because you're.
Yes.
Yeah, but a regular.
And unfortunately, they might not see you until it's almost too late. I've seen a couple of cyclists almost meet their maker because they're so low.
Yeah, those recumbent ones. Yeah, now, but a regular upright bike, there's no kind of like requirement for any type of flag. Anyone who wanted to could certainly add one to their bike, but it's not common.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to bring on Guy. He might have a question for you. He's in Washington State, but let's bring on Guy and see if he has any questions for you, Mark. Okay. Hey, Guy.
Hi. Thanks for having me
URL. Sure.
The documentation I'm seeing in Durham, North Carolina about the miles of roadways versus the miles of designated bike areas, you got a lot of work to do, Mark.
You're right. We have very few protected bike lanes in this city. They add occasionally.
Okay. Then my first question is, do you think with the gas prices going up that bicycle lanes are going to take a higher rung on the ladder of things to see and do?
It's a great question, and one would hope. For one of the reasons that we advocate for bicycle transportation is because people on the lower ends of the economic spectrum, for a lot of them, car ownership is really ruinous financially for them, and there are a lot of people who simply can't do it. So they rely on buses or biking to get around. And I know the gas prices. I rented a car yesterday because I had to drive to a job in Charlotte, it's over $4 a gallon now, which
it's over $5 here, but any technicalities.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is though, if all the different environmental and social impacts of car driving were factored in, gas should really be more like $10 a gallon. All the harms caused by the extra fossil fuel burning and
don't let anybody hear you say that.
The carbon footprint's pretty big driving a car.
So gas prices, as high as they are drastically too low compared to the social harms that are caused by individual car ownership in our society. So,
somehow they're saying that by 2030, everybody will be driving electric cars. Well, everybody who's driving will be driving electric cars.
They're pushing for that in California already. They're saying that no new cars will be sold that aren't electric.
Yeah, that's a great step forward environmentally. We would, I think electric cars, as opposed to gas powered cars, is really beneficial to our society. But I would argue that we would still continue our advocacy for other forms of transportation in cities, because in a city, while an electric car will help the environment, it's still taking up a lot of. It's still making it harder for the other forms of transportation to continue at the level that one would hope.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting transition. I can imagine the lower income folks will be the last ones to join the rest of the nation in driving electric vehicles. It's going to be it's going to be interesting times.
Yeah.
Because I have never had much money. I've never paid more than, actually, the first car I ever bought was $1,900. I've never paid more than that. Mm-hmm. I've never been able to pay more than that for a car. And it's going to be interesting because not everybody can run out and get an electric vehicle. I'm sure maybe by 2030, they will have used electric vehicles at decent prices by then, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah, the price.
It's hard. A lot of people I know have never bought new cars. I mean, it's just out of the question.
Well, even better is not buying a car, because as a freelancer, I just started freelancing a few years ago. If I had been paying car payments this whole time, there's no way I could have done it. So So in a city like Durham, which is small enough that you can basically bicycle to most, useful places in the city if you live in a central part, you're really saving money if you don't have a car at all.
That's true. Do you have to go, Guy, or are you saying hello?
Yeah. I affectionately call her the queen of everything when she calls on the phone.
Oh, your wife.
She says, "Get ready to go. I'm almost home. We're going to go to the market."
All right.
What I was going to share with you today, and I'll talk real quick. GuideStar, just like it sounds, is spelled. GuideStar connects donors and grant makers to nonprofit organizations. Okay. And speaking of nonprofit organizations, our favorite bicycling organization, Bike Durham, is right there. That's their page on GuideStar. So if you're a donor and you contribute to people, Mark, tell the web guy that, see where it says the website is HTTP. It's not. It's HTTPS. So that needs to get fixed.
Yeah.
So whoever wrangles this page needs to update the contact information. But anyway, I got to go.
Okay, Guy, thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Keep up the good work, Mark. I'll tell you the Raleigh bicycle story another time.
Thanks, Guy. Awesome. Yeah, he's right about updating that website, because sometimes when websites don't have that S on the end, HTTPS, you get a pop-up saying, this site is dangerous and that sort of thing. And then people turn back without ever trying to, so he's right about that. I have gotten that notice on occasion when websites didn't update their, I forget what they call it, some kind of certification, whatever. So when is the next Bike Durham event? Because with your saying May is Bike Month.
Mm-hmm. So our next event, I think, is going to be, we have one event that I'll mention. I think maybe our next one is the Bike the Nature Preserves next Saturday. Okay. After that, on Wednesday the 18th, is the annual Ride of Silence. And that's going to meet at the Bull downtown at 6 p.m.
Okay.
And that is an annual, I don't remember the year that got started, but it's a ride to commemorate the people who have died while biking in our cities. And I do
remember that. Yeah.
It's kind of a more solemn event. There's a speech or two at the beginning, and then there's a silent ride through the city and a return back to downtown. So that's going to be.
I will definitely put that in the Skywriter as well. I remember seeing ghost. I don't think people do this anymore, but they used to have these ghost bikes. If someone perished at a particular site, hit by a car or whatever, they put a white bicycle there to commemorate. Do they still do that? I haven't seen one of those in years.
It's still done. Fortunately, in Durham, it's been a while since somebody was actually killed on a bicycle, I think. Don't quote me, but yeah, that might be why you haven't seen one in a little while. But yes, it's still common. It's to raise awareness, and hopefully people see those and realize that to be careful while driving.
Mm-hmm. I remember it's a moving thing. It's really sad when you see one. It's just, just a white bicycle. It's just, it's very well. It makes the impression that they're aiming for. It's very. When you see one, it's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Makes you think. So it makes you slow down too.
Yeah, hopefully.
The whole idea. Yeah. So Mark, feel free to come back on Bull City Hangout anytime you like. Tell all your friends that they could come on and share information. I love the fact. When did you hear about Bull City Hangout? I'm just curious.
So Bike Durham recently hired a deputy director, and she told us about your show, and she's the one who got it. Do you know Nancy Cox? Is that the
name's familiar?
Mm-hmm. She's the one. Yeah, she suggested. She asked.
Tell her thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I love it when people drop by, especially when I realize that I have been lax in certain areas. So I feel that I've been corrected, and I appreciate it. And I will endeavor to have something about Bike Durham on the sports page, hopefully every month. Because the Durham Skywriter, it's a technically it's a monthly, but it's no longer in print. It's only online, so it's always. I like it on. Although I do miss, and a lot of people do miss having it in their hands. The plus side of it being a website is that I get to update it every day. I love that.
That's great. Yeah, I heard about you a couple years ago, actually.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, continue to to check it out, DurhamSkyWriter.com. Continue to watch Bull City Hangout and invite yourself and friends, other people to come on the show. Because to me, I'm all about the information.
Yeah.
So the more people can find out what's happening in Durham, the more people can get involved with the nonprofit scene and, just ways of helping others. I'm all about that.
That's great. Well, I really appreciate what you're doing.
Well, thank you so much, Mark. And did I pronounce your last name? I just want to make sure. Is it Maximov?
Maximov. Yeah, you're very
Maximov.
Close. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mark. I really appreciate your being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. You take care.
All right, you too. Thanks.
Okay. Bye-bye. That was super awesome. Bike Durham. I've always been a huge fan. So yeah, really nice having Mark on the show. So if you could share this show out, I'd appreciate it so more people can know. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my conversation with Mark. I'm going to remove the front part with the announcements and actually repost, I think, my conversation with Mark, maybe I'll put it on the sports page, and I might post it elsewhere on YouTube and Facebook. I have to figure out where to do so, because I really think Mark provided us with incredible information. So with that, you have a beautiful day. And also note, with tomorrow being Saturday, the show will start at 10 o'clock. So be here at 10. Also be mindful of the weather. According to Aaron, we're going to have all kinds of mayhem this afternoon. So the Durham Central Park event has been postponed, and maybe the other events as well. Just continue with caution. With that, have a beautiful day. And I will see you tomorrow at 10 for Bull City Hangout. Ciao for now.